Welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. Let's go and hop into this. See what gallery we have yet. Cool. What's this? The F story contains spoilers. Okay, I don't want to do that then. No, let me leave then. Let me leave! But that's nice to know that that's an option, but... Load. Her clear hair and skin stretched across my sight. Rui, you've grown taller. She held her right hand horizontally to measure my height. So cute. I could not help but look away from her a little. But then I quickly turned my head back. That's not important now. Why were you trying to die? I asked her in an angry voice. I thought it was okay. The world is going to end soon anyway. I'm bored in the hospital and the world is ending anyway. Why not just die? The world is ending? That's right, well, only the world for humans is. I suppose the animals will survive. We've done too much and the deity is angry at us. That's the way it goes. What is she talking about? It appeared as if she had gone completely crazy. But thinking back, Ryza had always been a strange girl. Faith, psychics, magic, cryptids, urban legends. She was in all kinds of occult stuff, and I had to accompany her every time. And it seems she got more into those things. Besides, death doesn't always mean the end. Maybe there's next stage, and it continues next and next. No one can prove there is no afterlife. Disclaimer! Don't die! This is an idea made convenient for human beings. I was about to say that I swallowed my words. Hey, Riza, what's the disease you're here for? I think it's called Spiria. Really don't know much, though. Just as I thought. Nurse told me that most people in this building were Spirit patients, so I thought that was the case. Riza was odd since she was little, so she was infected by Spiria. It was not a surprise that she became obsessed with delusions and ended up committing suicide. I hate to say this, but the things the world ending, I think it's just your imagination. Spiria is a disease that causes you to have an abnormal brain. You might be suffering delusions from it. Oh, really? I don't know anything about the disease. If you think I'm being delusional, that's fine. I believe what I want to believe. But that doesn't mean you should waste your life. Your parents would be sad, too. Reese put her hand on her chin for thought for a while. You have a point. It's true the end world is coming, but I'm not so heartless. I don't want people to care about feel sad. To my surprise, Ryza easily showed her understanding. Then you should entertain me until the end of the world. As long as you entertain me, I won't die. What's that about? I let out a small sigh. I was amazed, but at the same time I felt a strange sense of relief that Ryza had not changed at all. Now that I had thought about it, her fundamental desire had always been to have fun. She tried witchcraft, searched for ghosts and cryptids, and prayed to deities. She found pleasure in the unknown, and she just went after it. And I was attracted to her, enjoying in her own world. Alright. At least while we're here, I'll entertain you as much as I can, so please don't die. She would surely change her mind about this foolish idea once she was completely cured. All I had to do was keep her occupied until then. I'm bored too, anyway. Riza smiled at me. Her smile was as cute as ever. I was embarrassed to remember the time when I used to be in love with her, and looked down a little. After that, we went back inside the building. I walked down the stairs with her, trying to walk at the same pace. On the way back, a familiar, unpleasant voice rumbled in my ears. Bwahaha, have you fallen in love with this chick again? You really like crazy women, don't you? But since you're crazy too, you two make a perfect couple. Bwahaha. It was Glennie. However, I ignored it and talked to Ryza. My room is on the second floor of this building. You? Mine is on the first floor, just downstairs. Oh, you're planning to creep on her night. I envy you. I could not stop myself from getting annoyed and punched where there was actually nothing. Naturally, my fist punched the air, and vexing the creature disappeared like mist. But no matter how uncomfortable I felt, his words were all coming from my brain. It was like punching myself in the face, and it made me a little futile. What's wrong? Nothing. There was an annoying bug, that's all. We made our way back to the second floor rest area, where I first saw Ryza. Perhaps the anxiety of seeing my first love again, I felt a sudden urge to urinate. What? I gotta go to the bathroom. Have a seat and wait here. Okay. After I relieved myself, I straightened up myself in front of the mirror. Entertaining Riza. How on earth can I entertain her? I regretted making a promise without thinking about it. I pondered over and looked over my face. Then the novel I just read halfway through occurred to me. The story about a character who heard a rumor about a ghost and abandoned... Alright, I need to click on... No, what happened? I was just trying to move this so I can see the screen better. Oh yeah, how about I pretend like this hospital in the rumored haunted and invite her to walk around? Rise is a big fan of the occult, would surely be hooked on it. It was not necessary for a ghost story to be true. I thought this was a good idea, so I immediately returned to where Riza was. Hey there. Sorry for the wait. Hey Riza, do you want to hang out with me tonight? Actually, I just heard a nurse talking about some rumor. It seems a woman ghost with long hair appears in the forest behind the hospital. Why don't we go check that out? Riza stared at my face as she was trying to figure out what I was thinking. Did she notice I lied by any chance? On second thought, it was too convenient for me to hear such gossip at this timing. However, her response was surprisingly good. Great. That sounds fun. She might have realized my lie, but accepted the invitation regardless. Riza had never cared much about the truth about things. She would go exploring the unknown and end up finding nothing, but she always seemed pleased. And seeing her like that also pleased me. See you around at midnight then. Yeah. We decided on a meeting place and time, and parted again. In the evening, I ate dinner and then had been brought to me. The meal was simple and tasteless. I had never had an invalid diet before, but they are all tasteless. I had not much appetite since I was infected with Syria, so maybe my mother at hospital served me something specially made. After dinner, the doctor made his rounds, took my temperature, and performed minor tests. Later on, night fell, and the lights out came. Just before 1 a.m., I snuck out of the hospital room with a battery-operated lamp that I brought with me for nighttime reading. When I arrived at the meeting place, Riza was already waiting for me. Was she looking forward to meeting me? If that was the case, that would make me happy. Okay, let's go. Yeah. The reason I chose the forest outside was so that the guards would not find us. The sky was starlit and looked brighter since there was no streetlights. As we walked toward the forest, Glennie appeared above my head again. You plan to take her into the woods and make love? Way to go, Rui. Well, guys your age tend to be hornballs, so it's no surprise. Bwah. I was seriously ticked off. The anger against Glennie, but was also against myself for creating such a thought. I glared at it with all my might. Even Glennie seemed to have reflected on its own words, and disappeared as a cord of a cloud of smoke. I took a look at Riza, who was walking next to me. The moon and the lamp's light illuminated her body contour. Even in her hospital gown, it was clearly visible, but I immediately shook my head and overcome with passion. I was paying attention to the things I should not, and it was all Glennie's fault. Hey, Rui, why does the ghost appear in a place like this? Her sudden question made my heart jump. Well, long ago there was a sick girl. Her parents wanted to get rid of her, and sent her to the hospital. The sick girl hanged herself in the forest and died. I spoke off the cut. Oh, really? Then if I kill myself here, maybe I can become a ghost and be friends with her. Don't make such a morbid joke like that. What will you do if I'm that ghost? I probably won't be able to see you. What are you talking about? I just made up the story, so there's no way that could be true. Do you want to hold my hand and check? She suddenly held out her hand. No, it's okay. I immediately turned away, feeling shy. We found ourselves wandering so deep into the forest that we could not see the hospital anymore. I felt my body stiffen when I heard the sound of swaying grass and trees. I believe there was no such thing as ghosts, but I could not hold back my fear. Why? Because I had spirit? It meant any delusion could be here any time. Even if they knew they were not real, scary things were scary. After walking for some time, we came to a fence. I knew this fence surrounded the whole hospital. With this fence, at least we would not get lost even if we walked randomly. We decided to walk along the fence for a while. Nothing's coming out. Yeah, of course nothing would happen. And yet she seemed rather happy than bored. I'm a little tired. How about a break? Okay. Riza sat down against the fence. I sat down against a tree across from her. Hey, Rui, there's a question for you. What is it? If you had a device that could erase any bad memory you ever had, would you use it? The question came out of nowhere. But thinking back, Riza had always loved to ask questions about imaginary situations like this. I felt that she had not changed since then. I wondered myself how to answer the question. A device that can erase memories. Oh, I have choices. Let's make a save. And back. Don't use it. I wouldn't use it. Why? Well, I don't have any memories I want to erase that badly, and if I'm afraid I once I've used something like that, I'll get addicted to it and accidentally erase an important memory one day. What are you, Riza? I will use it. I like to experience being a person with missing memories. Riza's answer was so her, however, it was hard to tell how serious she was. Hello? At that moment, I heard a sound like a moan nearby. I looked about 2 meters above Rice's head and saw... Hi! A monster peeking over the fence at us. Well, I mean, even if you're real, at least the fence is there. What is it? Behind you, there's a monster. I pointed at the monster's face, and Rice immediately turned around, but for some reason, her face was calm. I looked again at the monster, and there was... just a dead tree. So it was merely a hallucination. Probably all caused hysteria. I'm sorry, it's nothing. Ha ha ha, she suddenly burst out laughing. That was so real. Or did you really see a monster? It's funny either way, ha ha. How I reacted might have appeared really funny. It hit Riza's spot, and she could not stop laughing. I did not do it on purpose, but I was glad to see her having fun. Should I be thankful for this spurious hallucination? I was not sure how to feel about it. I remember seeing that monster on the way to the hospital. My brain seemed to easily identify a tree as a monster. Hey, who goes there? Suddenly a flashlight shined from the hospital side, and I heard somebody's angry voice. Oh no, someone's coming. We turned off the lamp and quickly hid in a nearby bush. What to do? I could hear the sound of Rise's breathing nearby. Even she looked a little anxious. A light was coming closer and closer. What should we do? She whispered in my ear. They surely had noticed somebody hiding. It would be impossible to get away. I thought about it for a moment, then made up my mind. Rise, you stay here. Don't come out, okay? As soon as I said it, I came around in front of the person with the flashlight. Hey, excuse me, I was taking a walk and got lost. I followed the route of the light. Hi. It was the gas mask director. Being found by the director of all people, can it be any worse? You are not allowed to go outside after lights out. I don't know. I would like to walk at night, but if I'm not allowed to go by myself, can you go on the walk with me? Oh, sorry, it was my first time staying at the hospital, so I didn't know much about the rules. The director thought to herself for a while. Since it's your first day, I will let you go this time. But I am warning you, you are on yellow. Next time you do something wrong, you will be severely punished. Yes, ma'am. I straightened my back and saluted. Drawn by her military-like appearance and tone of voice, I could not help but respond in a foolish way. I was not even sure the extent of her was an hallucination and what was not. The director took me back to the hospital. When I turned around on the way back, I saw Rise with worried eyes looking at me from the bushes. It was a relief that she was not scolded. Moreover, I could see her puzzled expression tonight. I thought that was more than enough for me. I arrived at my hospital room and wondered myself as I got into the bed. Did Riza make it back to her room safely? Did she enjoy the walk tonight? I was tired from many things that had happened today. I felt uneasy about my new life, but I still filled with anticipation and excitement. This might have been all because I got to see Riza again. What should I do to entertain her next? While I was thinking that, I swallowed into a dark slumber. Second day in the hospital. I found myself in a dark, empty concrete room. Reached the second day. My hands and feet were bound with ropes. I could not move at all. Where am I? Why am I suddenly in this situation? Then someone appeared in front of me. Who are you? The person came to my ear. I don't know what that says. And they whispered something to me endlessly. However, I could not hear what they were saying. It was something similar to a nightmare I had yesterday. Then I finally realized, this is a dream. When I woke up, my whole body was wet with sweat. That was a bad dream. After having breakfast and a medical checkup, I spent my time reading a book. It seemed I did not get enough sleep. I started to get sleepy. As I was dozing off, I suddenly heard the curtains open and someone came in. Hi. I see you're wearing a nurse outfit. It was Riza in a nurse's uniform. Riza? Good morning. Were you okay yesterday? She leaned forward on the bed. Yeah, more than that. What's with your outfit? Outfit? Isn't it normal? No, it's not. Why is a patient wearing a nurse's uniform? I mean, I still like it. And this skirt is so short. After I said that, I realized what was going on. I'm dreaming. I rubbed my eye. Oh, I'm hallucinating. You know, I'm okay with that. Like, if you just suddenly hallucinated anime girls or saw you just walk by and you see like, oh, that aisle at Walmart, it's suddenly a cute anime girl in a nurse outfit. I rubbed my eyes and looked at her again. Riza was wearing the same hospital gown as history. Rui, you're really weird. It's funny. You perverted little rat. What are you fantasizing about? Even Glennie came out. This time I could not argue with it. What was anything? Honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with fantasizing about that. Even if you didn't have Spiria. Of course, Isn't there like a artificial sweetener by that name? Then I spent the rest of the time talking to Riza. Hey Riza, I was wondering why you have so many hairpins in your hair. Oh, this? It's a lucky charm to be reincarnated as something nice after I die. Is there such a charm? There is, but I'm doing it in my own way. So, it's your own way. It would be safe to say that there is no such charm then. Anyways, do you still like Sword Rangers? The topic changed to our childhood memories. I'm old for it now. Riza also likes Sword Rangers, and we used to watch it together. The day after watching the show on Sunday, we would watch the recorded episode together at my house. It was a wonderful time for me to talk freely and passionately about what I liked, but I'm still doing kendo. Half the reason I started kendo was because of my admiration for the Sword Rangers. The other half was for another reason. Wow, that was amazing. I bet you've gotten stronger. I'm not sure. There are always people better than me. Well then, I've got my checkup coming up, so I'm going. Let me know if you have any more fun things. Oh, okay. Riza rushed off. Fun things, eh? I had to keep her entertained to stop her from killing herself. I remember the task, and it made me puzzle over again. And something, something, and something, something are the only fun, right? Baha. All of a sudden, dirty words echoed in my ear. I was about to punch him, but Glennie predicted that and disappeared beforehand. What's with that skull? Is it only good at crude jokes? Seriously, it's annoying. But that's just until I get better. Later on, I went to the consulting room for an examination. During the examination, I told the doctor about my symptoms, but since there were no cure for Spiria, it was just a regular report. I was told that the only way to cure Spiria was to manage it myself. To participate in the kendo tournament coming up in 2 months, I must get well fast and leave the hospital. Once again, I made my determination stronger. Since I had free time after the examination, I decided to take a walk outside. I had enough walk around the hospital, and when I was about to return, I saw a familiar figure in the distance. It was Moan. Why is she here? Did she come again today? 2 days in a row. I had heard nothing about it. Besides, her clothes and her whole body looked tattered. She then disappeared to the back of the building. I followed her. She was not there. What was that? I know this must be another hallucination. I could subconsciously missing my sister. Moan had been taking care of me every day since I got Spiria. On second thought, I had been spending a lot of time with her recently, and it was not surprising for me to see these hallucinations. Why she looked tattered was a little mystery, though. She's been taking care of me a lot lately. I should thank her properly sometime. After lunch, I tried to think of a fun thing to suggest to Riza. I looked at the clouds floating outside the window and came up with an idea. How about summoning a UFO? Of course, the method could be made up. We should do it on a rooftop late at night. If the director found out about it, I could get in serious trouble this time. However, this was a matter of life and death. Nobody could blame me. Once I made up my mind, I could not sit still. I decided to go to Riza's hospital room. She said it was on the first floor, next to the stairs. I went down the stairs first floor, walked across the corridor, and aware I'm in a room. However, I sensed an indescribable feeling of discomfort from the end of the corridor. I became curious, so I put off seeing Riza and went further into the hallway, and feeling was probably from the treatment room at the end of the corridor. I slowly peeked inside through the gap in the door, and there was people that need to eat a sandwich. A group of patients with empty eyes. They were sitting on the floor huddled together in the corner, waiting on a sandwich. What are they doing? It was not quite normal for this building to have many strange patients. There was something different about them from the others, though. Their bodies were all still as mannequins, not moving an inch, and their eyes were so lifeless. I felt as if I had seen something I was not supposed to see. I darted away from that place. I went back the way I came and arrived in the front of Riza's hospital room again. Yay, soda! When I opened the sliding door, I found her drinking some juice. Oh, Rui, do you want some? It's delicious. Thank you. She offered me the juice she was drinking without hesitation. Thank you. The label on the can said salted pickle cider. Okay, no, I'm good. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've actually drank pickle juice before. And things like jars of like pepperoni and bottled like banana peppers. Like I've drank the brine out of the fucking glass jar. But I don't think I'd want an actual salted pickle cider. That's a very unique choice of flavor. And doesn't she mind all about having an indirect kiss? No thanks. I hesitated for a moment, but I quickly declined. Hey, I came up with something fun to do today. Really, what is it? I recently read a book on 10 ways to summon UFOs. Would you like to try it out with me tonight? That sounds great. Riza's right eye peeking through a gap in her hair. Something. I think Z button. Oh, LB log. Instantly lit up. Okay. She was a child who just been invited to a theme park. Then we'll meet up on the rooftop at 1 a.m. tonight. Okay. After I left Rise's place, I waited impatiently for the midnight to come. Time seemed to pass very slowly. When the time finally came, I sneaked out of the hospital room. I opened the door to the rooftop and saw countless stars in the sky. Under the stars, Riza was waiting for me. When did you get here? About 2 hours ago. Really? Really, I like to look at the stars. Then I should have come here earlier. By the way, did you know that this rooftop is off limits? Yeah, but well, it wasn't locked. Let's say I didn't notice. If we keep doing things like this, we might get caught and punished one day. What would they do to us as a punishment? Alright, let's get started. Okay. I placed the cans I got from the trash bed in an assignment shape on the floor. Then I stood in the middle of the cans. I spread my hands out to the side while chanting a strange spell, and then wiggled my upper body. Is this how you summon you? Oh, that's so fake. It's true. It was in the book. Rui, you always been so serious about everything. You're so funny. I like that about you. I felt my heart jump. I used to like Riza, but she moved away before I could confess to her. To be honest, even after she moved, I still thought about her. If she had felt the same way as I did back then, would I be successful if I confessed my feelings for her now? I let such serious thoughts pass through my mind as I danced a ridiculous dance. I noticed that Riza was also dancing next to me, chanting a spell, and they were just spells and movements I made up on the spot. She probably knew it was all a lie. However, she still went along with it without saying anything. Riza seemed to be a person who went her own way, but she was very considerate. I liked that about her. When I looked to my left, a third wheel was joining in the dance. After dancing for a while, we got tired and decided to sit on a bench to look at the stars. I didn't see any UFO. Yeah, there was no sense in sadness among us, even though the UFO did not appear. The comfortable temperature of the May night, pleasant night breeze was blowing, and the star-filled sky showed us that the world was beautiful. Hey Riza, you said that the world was going to end, right? How is it going to end? I asked out of curiosity, wondering what kind of delusion Riza was having. Like being invaded, I guess. By aliens? Not quite. But the end is definitely approaching. Aren't you just saying that? Out of caprice? Maybe, maybe not. She was not going to tell me. Riza, please don't take your own life. I'll be sad if you die. How it will go for me, I guess it's all up to you. Once again, I felt I had to do my best to entertain her. This is not healthy at all. Hey, Rui, here's a question for you. Again? Suppose that the human race is ruled by aliens, and for observation purposes, we are all connected to computers, living together in a virtual space. Would you like to know the truth? It was another bizarre and absurd question. I never understood Riza's intentions. The human race is ruled by aliens? Save. Apply. I want to know. Yeah, me, I would I don't think I'd care. Okay, sure. I'd be like, okay, it's a simulation. Why can't things be better? I really wouldn't care. I'd just be like, okay, where's my big titty waifu? Guess I'd want to know. If I knew even then I'd have a rough day, I would think it's okay since it's all happened in virtual space. I mean, I would still care. I'd still want to have a good day. I'm just saying if it's all virtual, then why can't you just make it a good day? I feel like I can take my life easier that way. What about Riza? I'd like to know too. It's fun to think that they're aliens. Maybe they'll communicate with us. Even under such circumstances, you think about occultism. You always base your decisions on whether or not it's fun or not, do you? I suppose so. Then can't we just stop talking about the end of the world because it's not fun? I'm not sure why, but I don't feel that way. That was probably the influence of Spiria. I had never seen Riza so fascinated with negative illusions in the past. Wow! At the moment a ray of light flashed through the darkness of the night. Wow! A shooting star. Riza shouted. We looked at each other. We didn't get to see a UFO, but we did see something better. Yeah, it appeared too suddenly to make a wish, though. I made a wish. What I wished for is a secret. What kind of wish did she make? Couldn't I imagine what she had in her heart? After that, we cleaned up the place, returned inside the building, and parted. This time, I was able to return to the hospital room without being spotted by anyone. And like yesterday, I went to sleep without thinking about Riza. Third day! I found myself in a pitch black space. Reached the third day of the hospitalization. Yeah, we're going to be here for 2 months. So eventually be like, reached 59th day of the hospitalization. I found myself in a pitch black place. After standing there for a while. Okay. A portrait emerged before my eyes. It was a portrait of a very beautiful woman. She looked somewhat like Riza. Well, now it's something's... However, as times went by, the paint melted away. In the end, only a reddish-black canvas remained. My consciousness connected to the reality. I've been having a lot of weird dreams lately. I got up and went to the bathroom to wash my face. When I looked in the mirror, I don't look very healthy. All my hair had turned gray, my eyes were bloodshot, and the skin on my upper half of my face was red and sore. More than likely, hallucination. Or maybe we're slowly turning into one of the monsters that we hallucinated. That being said, either way, we should go see the doctor. If it's a hallucination, they won't notice it. And if it isn't a hallucination, they will be concerned. Gasp. I bent backwards into surprise. What is this? I rubbed my eyes hard and looked closely again. The mirror was showing a reflection of my normal face. Or, what we saw a moment ago is actually what we look like, and we are hallucinating ourselves as normal. So us being normal is the hallucination. It was an hallucination. Wow, your head's certainly going crazy, Rui. I ignored the words of the creature not reflected in the mirror. But Glennie was right. My hallucinations were getting worse instead of getting better. I headed for my morning checkup. My temperature was normal. I was a little underweight. But apart from that, there was nothing wrong with my health. However, the symptom spirit showed no signs of recovery. Well, maybe it's one of those things that would get better before it gets worse. Like you got here early stage, so you have to go through the whole stages of this thing. If I don't get better, I might not be able to spend more time with Riza. Such a feeling came across my mind, but I shook my head and instantly got rid of such a naive thought. Nothing would be cured if I kept thinking like this. I can see her anytime, even after I left the hospital. I got her contact over. Here's the thing. I don't know if we have any influence. Even if the spirit is something that will come and go in time by just, letting our antibodies work on it, I don't think there's anything I can do about that aside from maybe drink some vitamin C, like orange juice, and sleep, and maybe just be healthy, I guess. After the checkup, I headed back to my room. As I walked down the hallway, I heard a familiar voice from behind me. Hey, Rui. I turned around. Okay. There are some differences that have occurred now. And there she was, Moan, dressed up as a demon girl. Moan, why are you dressed like that? What do you mean? I'm dressed normal. You call that normal? It's not Halloween, you know. After saying that, I realized my mistake again. Ah, of course, this is not a hallucination. Sorry, I just saw wrong. But you can see things like this much you want in the world of illusion. It's not bad, huh? Honestly, yeah, not a problem. I have to go to the gallery to see these pictures without the freaking captions in the way. No, I'm not happy to see my own sister drops like this. But after all, it was me, myself, who was showing these images. It made me feel that I was really losing my mind in many ways. And her breasts are made bigger for some reason. Sai, you're not getting well at all, are you? Seems so. I'm sorry. I don't think I have any say in the matter. I rubbed my eyes hard until the hallucination disappeared. When I recovered my proper vision there, I saw my usual sister. I returned to my room with her. I wasn't expecting to see you today, too, Moan. What? You don't like it? No, I didn't mean like it. It was a long way here, so I just felt bad about it. Mom asked me to bring you a change of clothes and other stuff. I see. Mom and Dad will come visit you after work are settled. They seemed very sorry as usual. They are busy. I won't blame them. Both of my parents are university professors. I had always wondered why I was not smart regardless of being their child. Moan was always got top marks in her grade, had surely sucked my brains out before I knew it. She took clothes and books out of her backpack and started to put them away on the bookshelf in the bed. Were you at the hospital yesterday too? I caught a glimpse of you walking outside. You had some tattered clothes on. Her hand stopped. No, I wasn't. I see. So that must have been also an hallucination? Did you want to see me so much? Maybe that's why you saw me. No way. I could not declare that was the case, but I denied it to maintain my dignity as an older brother. Also, I met my old friend Riza, by the way. She's also being hospitalized in Siberia. What a coincidence. You remember her, right? Moan looked surprised, and her face turned slightly gloomy. Yeah. I remember that she had always avoided Ryza a little bit. Mo was usually very attached to me, but when Ryza came to our house to play, she kept her distance with unhappy eyes. Well, she was quite timid outside and bossy at home, so she behaved like that, mostly any person. I don't know, maybe Ryza's already been dead. Maybe she's actually a ghost. I don't know. Just then, Ryza came to visit my house room. Oh, no, they can talk to each other, unless they're both hallucinations. Speaking of the demon, there she is. Oh, could you be Moan? It's been a while. Moan glanced in Ryza's direction and immediately looked down. Go on, Ryza, saying hello to you. Greet her back. Hello. Ryza was smiling as she watched my shy sister. I finished the job Mom asked me to do. I'm leaving. All right, thank you. Tell Mother thanks for me. She got her backpack sheepishly and left the room in haste. I wanted them to get along, but there seemed to be no chemistry between Moan and the realist and Ryza the occult lover. Moan hasn't changed a bit, has she? I'm sorry for interrupting. You don't have to worry about it. She's like that with all my friends. But I feel she's especially jealous of me. She must be afraid of losing her big brother. What are you talking about? She always acts rude and annoying to me. No, Moan loves you. She loves you so much that she drives you crazy. Ryza mumbled something mysterious. Anyways, what are we doing tonight? She changed the subject, so I shifted my thoughts along with her. I'm thinking about going to the library and doing some black magic. Wow, Rui, do you have someone with you to curse death? No, I don't. After saying that, I thought about, well, one name came to mind. Actually, there is one. The name is Glenny. Hey, don't you dare try to curse me. Glenny appeared. Rui, do you perhaps maybe hate me? Of course I do. I wanted to throw in a punchline, but I kept my mouth shut. Glenny, that's an interesting name. If I'm right, did an enemy of the Sword Rangers have a name like that? Well, yeah. I just felt like destroying any evil. Oh, really? We spent the rest of the time talking about what we've been doing over the past few years. After graduating high school, Ryza had been to many places, traveling alone and staying with host families abroad. Restfulness was very typical of Ryza, but listening to her story made me worry a lot. So, why are you in the hospital now? I seem to have contracted disease, so I was temporarily sent to my grandfather's house near here. But they said symptoms were so severe that I had to be hospitalized. I don't know much about the symptoms myself, though. I had no idea what kind of symptoms she was experiencing because of Spiria. But if she was accepting her delusions and hallucinations as they were, she might not be feeling any inconvenience. I see. You don't care much about your disease, do you? Well, I guess not. Still, I'd like to get out of here with you, Ryza. I gazed at her more seriously than ever before. If you insist that much, then it might be a good idea. Ryza, on the other hand, just gave me her usual friendly smile. I would like to continue having a relationship with her. However, whether she understood my feelings or not, that was the question. Her mind was always floating around like a cloud, and I could something push a button. I'll see you at midnight, okay? Yeah. We don't have to keep hanging out at midnight. I think we've done enough of that. Can we just hang out during the day? We can do things during the daytime. In the evening, the nurse in charge brought me dinner. As usual, I did not have much appetite, so I looked at the food brought in without any expectations. On the dishes was something obviously weird. Large eyeballs that looked like humans, the guts of something covered in fresh blood, and the brains floating in reddish-black liquid. Here's the thing. Is this an hallucination? Or is this what I'm actually eating and I'm hallucinating it as normal food? What are these? Being confused, I looked at the nurse. It was that monster. Ah, monster. I curled up and trembled. Are you all right, Mr. Gensaki? I looked again and saw the usual nurse. The meal was also the same as the invalid diet as usual. I was hallucinating. I am sorry, it's nothing. My head was completely going crazy. Now it was no different from the patients in this room. I had already become a typical Spiria patient. My body was still trembling. I wanted to see Ryza and be healed. And we just split up a few minutes ago, but I found myself thinking about her. The midnight I longed for finally arrived. I packed up my backpack and things I had prepared for heading to the library. Then I noticed the library might be locked. Oh no, I hadn't thought about that. However, luckily the door was not locked, and I got to enter with no problem. No one was there, and it seemed I arrived first today. Hey you, what are you doing there? Suddenly I heard a scolding voice behind me, and my body jumped. I turned around and there she was. Ryza dressed as a policewoman. Huh? Why a policewoman? Then I immediately realized, oh, it's another hallucination. My brain seemed to be a big fan of cosplay. I am also a big fan of cosplay. I like cosplay. Just kidding, it was me. I rubbed my eyes hard to break the illusion. But even though I looked again, she was still dressed as a policewoman. I can't break the hallucination. Why? What's the matter? Is something wrong? By any chance, we're probably just sleepy. Did you see me dressed as a policewoman? What? How does Ryzen know that? Can you see my hallucination? Is that even possible? I got panicked. How did you know that? Ryzen burst out laughing. You're really funny to make fun of you, Rui. What are you seeing is not a hallucination. Ryzen picked up the size of the policewoman uniform she was wearing. It looked like you were seeing a hallucination of me in a weird outfit before, so I thought I'd play a prank. She had me in the palm of her hand. You have hallucinations because of the so-called spirit, right? Well, yeah. But how did you get those clothes? I asked my mom to get them for me yesterday. That's pretty quick, though. Going through such a trouble for a prank, what I expected, Ryza. And her mother went along with it, even more amazing. I was more impressed than stunned. Okay then, let's start get back to black magic. Yeah, I took a deep breath and calmed my pounding heart. I can't wait to see what happens. I wrapped a black cloth around my body and took out a book from my backpack. By hiding the honestly, it's not that hard to get cosplay clothes if they're not real, and if you're not real, and your mom's not real. And I'm just in this room talking to my imaginary friends, as I see the red, green brain, bat, skull, robo-warrior dude there. By hiding the cover of a black book jacket, I made it look like it was a book on black magic. But actually, it was just a novel. I made a magic circle on the floor using string I found. And then I placed a doll of gauze in the middle. I had written Glenny on the doll. Ah, your black magic lacks quality. It shows how idiot you are. I can't argue with that. I cut my hair with a pair of scissors and sprinkled it on the doll. I've never seen such black magic before. Right. I summoned demon by making contact with me, bringing misfortune to this hateful existence, blah blah blah. I took the book in my span and began to chant a random spell. The demon from the gates of Hades, please lend me your power. There's no such haphazard black magic would work. You're a fool. There's a fool here, Baha. Was he just playing along? Somehow it worked. Did it work since it was just illusion? Or did he see the director and get scared of it? Here's a question. Can my delusions see things that I'm not aware of? Because at that point, like, what if I could just, like, go to the edge of a hallway instead of, like, peering around it like Metal Gear Solid? I could just send my hallucination no one else can see as, like, a drone. But at that point, it's not so much an hallucination, so much as, like, a jutsu from fucking Naruto. Farewell, Glenny. Thanks for nothing. I at least pretended to be sentimental in my mind. It worked beyond my expectations. Really? So you can tell even while you're here? Yeah. Rise probably had no idea what I was talking about, and it might have seemed ridiculous. She still accepted without saying anything as always. If anything, she watched me happily throughout the ceremony. She probably found it most amusing to see me exerting myself to entertain her. After cleaning up, we sat down on chairs and took a break. I had fun again today. Just being at the hospital at night makes everything so much more thrilling. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I did not like I had done anything interesting, but it Rise seemed pleased. So I convinced myself that it was probably a good idea. Hey Rui, here's a question for you. Here we go again. You love someone that the person's also in love with you, but if that person turns out to be an android who was programmed to love you, would you be in a relationship? There was another strange question. The person I love was an android. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Be in a relationship. I would be in a relationship. If she were an android, I could break up with her without feeling guilty, or I could... that's not how that works! We're still acknowledging... Like, one, you can have a pretend relationship with something that isn't real for just the sake of, you know, feeling less lonely. But if it's an actual, like, android that actually is, you know, sentient, well then at that point you can't just, like, discard the person like they're not a person. It's still a human being at that point. I mean, yes, it's circuitry, but at that point, you know, you're dealing with something that's sentient. So you can't just, you know, disregard the person's, you know, the android's feelings as if they're not a person. Because at that point, the android is a person. But yeah, it's either you're dealing with something sentient or not sentient. If it's not sentient, then you're basically just talking to yourself but with a nice little computer algorithm talking back to you, giving automated responses. Which then, it's, whatever, it makes you feel better. Why not? At which point, yeah, it wouldn't matter if you got bored of the thing because it wouldn't have feelings. But if it's sentient and has feelings, well then it's actually a person. So, should be treated, the same way you would treat a person. Well, that may be too inconvenient, but still. What about you, Riza? I'd be in a relationship too, I guess. As long as I like that person, I don't care what the person is. I thought that would be what Riza would say. But what was the meaning of exchanging a question like this every time? Well, it might be pointless to think about the meaning of every single thing Riza said. I'd like to ask you a question too. But I'd say that I'd agree with that. Like, at the end of the day, you just kind of like the people you like. Doesn't matter if they're an android or an alien or whatever. 10-foot tall cat girl with giant tits, whatever. Yes, square cube law of physics kind of makes it very unlikely for... I'd like to ask a question too, yeah. Something I wanted to ask 8 years ago but could not. I decided to be brave and ask her that question. What did you think of me when we were in elementary school, students? My forehead was wet with sweat from nervousness. Riza made a gesture like she was thinking. I was so nervous that my heart started to beat faster, trying to get an answer out of her quickly. I think I liked you. The answer was more direct than I had expected. After a moment of surprise, I slowly began to feel a surge of joy as I processed the meaning of her words. Could this mean Riza felt the same way as I did when I was in elementary school? If so, I was overjoyed. How much did you like me? More than ancient civilization, I guess. That did not really ring a bell. However, it was not mistaken. Riza was quite fond of ancient civilization. It turned out she liked me more than some opuses, so I thought I should be more confident. I see. I wanted to go further and ask her how she felt about me romantically, but I had not enough courage and stopped my words before actually asking. Even if Riza knew what I wanted to say, I got the feeling that she did not make herself clear anyway. Let's go back before we are found. I felt somewhat awkward and suggested to end tonight's event. Okay. We left the library after that. As we parted, I thought about what it would be like the last time I could ever see Riza in police uniform and burn it into my memory. I returned to my bed in the hospital room. I looked out the window and saw the usual starry sky had disappeared due to the clouds, and only the faint moon was visible. What would tomorrow be like? How long would I continue to live in this hospital? For some reason, I had butterflies in my stomach. I fell asleep with an indescribable feeling of anxiety that night. 4th day in the hospital, then you die. Like, what did I do wrong? I haven't had that many options. Something has gone wrong. I found myself in an abandoned building. I had the feeling many times recently. This was probably a dream. However, there was one thing that was different from the usual ones. My body moved freely. I went down the stairs and walked aimlessly through the hallways of the ruins. It was a rather large building, probably an abandoned hospital. The structure was very similar to the hospital where I was hospitalized. When would I wake up from this dream? I wandered around the building with that sort of anxiety. I walked for a while, and I started to smell an unpleasant, rotten smell. I was intrigued and headed toward where the smell was coming from. The source of the smell was likely the room at the end of the hallway. I nervously opened the room marked treatment room and peeked in. Inside the room, there were several reddish-black objects. Tomatoes? Are they making ketchup? What are these? My heart was beating faster. I looked at those lit by the midnight. Those objects were human corpses in hospital gowns. Eek! I drew back on reflex. Then I immediately turned back and ran away from the place in a hurry. I sprinted at full speed, but where was I headed? I was not even sure of that. One thing I wanted to do was get away from that room full of dead bodies. This is a dream, right? Then hurry up and wake up. After running for a while, I saw a light in one of the rooms. I unconsciously aimed toward the light, feeling as if it would be swallowed by the darkness that was chasing from behind me. Fearfully, I peeked through the doorway that lighted the room. I saw the gas mask director inside. She was with an older man in a hospital gown. I was looking for the man in his back so I could see as well, but I felt that I had seen him somewhere before. The director took out a rope, and using that, she began to tighten the man's neck. What the? My legs started to shake with fear. Soon after, the man's body became weak and limp, like a puppet. She killed him. I witnessed the scene of the murder. Although I knew it was a dream, I could not suppress the fear that was coming up from my body. I better get out of here right now. As I could step back, I accidentally kicked a wooden stick that was lying on the ground. You saw me. Eek! Immediately, I ran away from the place as fast as I could. I moved my arms to leg desperately, but being exhausted from all the running, I was out of breath. My feet got tangled up from hurrying too much, and I fell on the floor. When I turned around, I saw the director just around the corner. Ah! I let out a pathetic cry of fear. She sat astride me and forcefully covered my mouth to block out my voice. It's no good. I'm too tired to move properly. The director took out an injector out of her pocket. She then injected it into my neck. My eyelids suddenly became heavy. Am I going to die? No, this is just a dream. I'll be fine. I'm sure I'll be fine. Gasp. When I woke up, I was lying in the usual hospital bed. My head hurt. My body was sticky with sweat, and I felt tremendously tired. Was that really a dream? The dream was too real. I could not tell what was real and what was fake. I was sure if I would be able to stay calm next time I encountered the director. I mean, honestly, the best thing to do right here would just go to the director like, "Hi, Miss Director. I had a bad dream. You were in it, and you, killed people. And you're like, say, oh, what if you just check the mirror to see if you, I could just hallucinate that I got, an injection thingy. Was it okay for me to continue staying here? If I stayed in the hospital forever, I might go crazy. On second thought, I felt like my memories had been blurred ever since I had infected with Syria. Besides, my head was a bit fuzzy. I got a feeling that I had to clarify what was the truth. I touched my face. It's okay, I do exist. I looked around and checked the hospital room. There was an empty bed in front of me. If I remember right, there was always an older man with blank eyes in front of me. But could he be taking a walk? When I looked closely, I found a small hole in the wall across from me. It was big enough to fit my index finger in. What's this hole? I peeked into the hole cautiously. Thereupon I saw the room on the other side. No one was there. I traced the edge of the hole to make sure it was not an hallucination. After a while, a chill ran through my body. I realized that if someone looked in this hole from the other side, they could see me in the hospital room. Was someone watching me the whole time? No, I must be thinking too much. Maybe some crazy patient accidentally opened it. Just as I was about to stop looking through the hole, I felt someone's presence on the other side. Well, that's fucking terrifying. Someone's eyes suddenly appeared on the other side of the hole. I was so surprised that I fell back. I fearfully looked in the hole again from a distance. However, no one was there. Was someone watching me through long, or was I just imagining things? I had to check and make sure the truth. I forced myself to someone to get up. Then I gathered my courage and went to the next room next door. But it was an empty private hospital room. There were traces of things scattered and someone had been there. Whose room is this? I happened to look at the clock in the room. It was already past noon. I then realized for the first time that I might have slept a lot today. I felt something very strange about the clock. Probably something to do with the date? How long have we been here? The date displayed on the clock was September 11th. That was strange. I got infected with Spiria early May. There was no way that more than 2 weeks had passed since then. Was the clock just off? When I thought about it, my memories after Spiria were vague. I felt like I was missing a big part of my memories. Memory disorder was said to be an occasional symptom of Spiria, but it was possible with memories missing as long as 4 months. Okay, so we definitely did not recover in the 2 months allotted. The feeling as if it was only one left behind the world, though this could also be an hallucination. What was I supposed to believe? The world was ending. For some reason, I suddenly felt that way. Rise's face came to mind. Out of fear and anxiety, I wanted to see her right now. If I could see her, she was sort of this mess of brain of mine. I went downstairs and went quickly to Rise's room, who has probably been dead for months. However, she was not there. I asked the nurse who was in the room. Excuse me, do you know where the girl who's using the bed here is? The bed has been empty for a long time and no one uses it. Eh? I was speechless. Can't be. I've seen Ryza in this bed. I believe a girl called Ryza Tensho was using this room. Are you sure? I have never heard of her. What in the world is happening? This was surely Ryza's room. I could not understand. Is that so? I left the hospital room. As I walked down the hallway, I started thinking. It was weird. Something was weird. We're probably dreaming. What? No. Was I the weird one? Yeah, right. Perhaps I knew it all along. That everything was weird. Was I unconsciously turning away from the truth because I did not want to accept the reality? Maybe that was about it. Looking back, I had never touched Ryza. I did not even touch the things she had. Also, I had never even seen her properly speaking with anyone other than me. An unpleasant hypothesis came to mind. At that moment, I spotted Ryza walking down the hallway. I immediately approached her and grabbed her arm. I was able to grab her arm. A feeling of relief welled up by my heart. I tried to shock the ridiculous idea of Ryza that might have been my fantasy. Ryza turned around. What is it? I looked closer, only to notice that it was a different female patient. Another hallucination. I'm sorry, I mistook you for someone else. After giving me a doubtful look, the woman walked away. I then walked around the hospital room looking for Riza. Why don't we just talk to the director? Hi, Miss Director. I made a friend here, and she's gone. I need you to confirm for me if my friend's imaginary. After searching around for 20 minutes, I finally found her. Riza was at the rooftop, and she was on the other side of the fence again. Hey, what are you doing? Why do you look sad? How are you climbing this fucking fence? She turned around. Rui? I'd rather die. It would be better for you too. I don't know what's going on. Don't say such a thing. There was no way things would be better with her. I need Riza. You promised you wouldn't die as long as I entertained you, or did you get bored hanging out with me already? I raised my voice so they were not erased by strong winds that looped up. No, it was fun, truly. But I think you should move on. I want you to live forever, even if I die. That's my greatest wish. I took my breath away. I got an intense sense of deja vu in her words. I felt like I had heard similar words from her before. Did she already die and I've just been hallucinating her? It was not a long time ago. I heard it recently. Oh yeah, I had already met Riza before I came to the hospital. Here's the thing. Maybe the reason our sister didn't talk to Riza was just because like, hey, oh, my brother's hallucinating his dead best friend. He's forgotten that she's dead. And he's hallucinating her alive. Heck, she was probably also good friends with her. I don't know. I don't know. How could I have forgotten? I still cannot recall it. So you finally realized it since you don't remember it all. It was kind of bothering me. Riza spoke to me as if she had read my mind. I already met you before I came to the hospital? Yeah, about 3 months ago. But we got separated a while ago. 3 months ago? If she was telling the truth, then my memories were actually missing. Maybe the date and the clock I saw that was accurate, which meant I had completely lost memories from May to August? Why didn't you tell me that we had already met? A slight silence. That's because you wished for it. No, I didn't. Did I? What? I had no idea what she was talking about. What did she know about me? There's no need to pretend like you know nothing. You already know the truth. What? Again, Riza was talking to me as if she could read my mind. I can actually read your mind, because I am yourself. What? The sound of strong wind echoed in the silence. I see. It seemed the bad feeling was right after all. Rising from me was probably my delusion. Yep, I'm a delusion, you created. Or are you fucking with me? No way. Are you saying that I was performing all the conversation with you on my own since I came to the hospital? You can't be so sure. I'm created based on your memories of Riza. There were no times I traced the same conversation you had with real Riza. You seem to have forgotten them, though. So where's the real Riza? Where is she now? Why are you when I ask the question? The real Riza is dead. It's a lie? This must be a dream. Or maybe she's just gone mad from the disease. But she's the kind of person who's obsessed with crazy fantasy of the world ending after all. Hey, Rui, I said at the beginning that I didn't care if I died, because the world was going to end anyway, did I? Those were your words, too. Because I am you. What do you mean? The world is actually going to end, due to the invasion of monsters. And the person who tried to kill himself from despair, that was you, not me. I don't understand what she's saying. There's no way the world will really end. Touch my hand. By doing so, you'll remember everything. Riza put her hand on the fence. You have lost your memories partly because of your disease, but primary cause is her. Was it the director? Did she actually inject me with shit? And you can't remember that yet because you were putting a brake on your mind. I walked over the fence and tried to touch Riza's hand like she told me to. My fingertips did not touch her hand, and they landed on the fence. Ah, that's fucking depressing. I can't touch you. Why? You know why. Hallucination can't be touched without substance. Just like Galani. A cruel truth was right in front of me. No doubt that Riza, she is hallucination after all. I did not want to admit it. Right then, memories that I had a recollection of flooded into my brain. Various scenes passed by me quickly. Somehow I was certain that all those were true. Right, it all started with this outbreak of Spiria. We were told that Spiria was a blood-borne disease, but that assumption was wrong from the beginning. Spiria was airborne, and it was spread around the world at a tremendous rate. Someone had twisted the facts. As Spirit was not just a mere virus that made you crazy, the initial symptoms of the virus were hallucinations, delusions, and memory disorder. Later on, the mind would be destroyed and eventually the body would begin to mutate. In the end, those who were infected turned into monsters and lost themselves. No one knew where such a horrifying virus came from. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is... isn't... again, early stages of the disease are delusions and memory issues and hallucinations. So it makes sense that this is all fucking bullshit. And I'm just... Maybe, I don't know, the doctors of this hospital should be, paying more attention, especially if it's been 4 fucking months. They got some laboratory? Did an existing virus mutate? Or perhaps it could have been a deity's punishment to humans, just like Ryza said. And only a month after the first discovery of Speria, the world quickly became a world full of monsters. My parents were no exception, they became monsters too. Unlike zombies, they did life activities, but ugly mutated those that lost their mind were no longer living humans. The only people who survived were those who had antibodies against Speria. The antibodies varied among individuals. Moan had a completely antibody that was fully immune to the virus. There were people like me who had an incomplete antibody that only slowed the progression to the infection. All we could do was stay at home, being terrified of the monsters. Mo was definitely trying to take care of me when I was infected with Speria. However, just being spoiled by her kindness gradually became unbearable. One day I might become delirious and harm her because of my mental instability. Such idea terrified me, so I left her letter. It was painful to leave her alone, but I knew I was going to die anyway. I wonder if my answers to those date questions is affecting what ending I'm getting, and maybe we're at an ending right now, and this is one of 20 different endings. I don't know. I felt the sooner I left, the less pain she would have to go through. Where I lived was a backwater town, so there was not many monsters. The monsters tend to concentrate in the city, where there used to be a lot of people. As I wandered around the town, I saw a girl I recognized from somewhere. It was Ryza, who used to live in my neighborhood. I called out to her. It's been a long time, Rui. You've grown taller. Ryza came in front of me and held her hand horizontally and measured my height. I was impressed that she could easily recognize me, even though my appearance had changed through the influence of Speria. Why are you here? She told me that she was visiting her grandfather's house in the town with her family, that an infection outbreak occurred and they became unable to return home. Afterwards, all of her relatives turned into monsters. Just like Moan, Ryza had been completely antibody against Speria. I'm lonely by myself, so let's stay together. But I have an incomplete antibody. I'll probably turn into a monster in about 6 months. Don't worry, I'll cure you somehow before then. I'm sure I can cure you if I try all the magic rituals I know. Despite the desperate situation, Ryza remained the same. At this point, it's the equivalent of trying to be with a terminal ill cancer patient. One, you still value the time with the person, and, well, that probably makes a whole big difference to the person in question. That being said, all around, very, very terrible situation for everyone, but trying to make the best of it. She was her own person and own age. Rather comforting. I might have been deranged someday and accidentally kill you. I don't mind. That's... Thank you? Question mark? Ryza smiled. Because death doesn't always mean the end. Maybe there's a next stage after that. You just go there. It was a story with no reasoning, but it might have been a way of consideration. It does sound very considerate. Thank you. It's still concerning, but thank you, nonetheless. I didn't get to read that. If I die, come with me, Rui, to the next stage. I cannot help but laugh at how lightly she made a rough request for me to follow death. Okay. I remembered how I used to always follow Ryza in our explorations, and I also agreed to it. I ended up staying with her. We spent the next 2 months together. I made my every effort to gather food and other necessities of life. To be honest, as all for Ryza's sake, I had no future anyway. Ryza was always so freewheeling that it was hard to believe that the world was coming to an end. At times, she'd find ghosts, summon UFOs, and do black magic, and just like in the old days, I went along with her. Honestly, it made all my efforts look foolish, but it was fun. I almost felt like I could forget what was going on in the real world. One night, we sat on a bench and looked at the sky together. It was a pity that there had been not many stars. Hey, Rui, do you remember when we were attacked by a wild dog in the past? Yeah, I remember. I think it was when I was looking for a mythical snake in the mountains. I was too scared to do anything, but you took a wooden stick and fought back against the wild dog. You are a person strong enough to face that reality. I just thought I'd be beaten anyway. If I ran away is all. I was lucky the dog pulled away with my threat. You looked really cool, Rui. You think so? Rise of the Time was also complimenting me a lot. I was so happy that I started doing kendo, thinking I could be a real hero. You have something I don't have. I'd run away in a second. Seriously, you're always so active. I can't imagine you running away. That's not true. I always run away from things I don't like. I was the stepchild, so my mother's knew didn't like me very much, and we couldn't get close until the very end. You know, trying to reconcile is hard work and not fun. I'd rather spend my energy on things I enjoy. I honestly never imagined that Ryza had such a family situation. I guess my love towards occultism started by escaping from reality so that I didn't need to think about my family. I don't know that. Sorry, I lied. It's not like I was being bullied or anything, and I wasn't that deeply troubled. Really? It's true. There's other reason why I like occultism. What's that? It's because my grandfather, who is a true fan of the occult, so I was influenced by it. Oh, I see. I was not sure if I could trust Rice's words, but I decided to accept it that way. But we'd done a lot of research together, and we never got to experience anything anything unscientific. Well, I don't care about the truthfulness anyway. Rather, I won't be able to enjoy it anymore if I find out the truth. Ryza knew that the occult was all a lie. However, she seemed to love the lie itself. There's a parable my grandfather used to tell me. Imagine that one day you see a portrait of a woman and you are moved. Ryza lowered her voice and began to explain. She was probably imitating her grandfather, and later on that woman the portrait appears in front of you. When you see the real woman, will you be more moved than when you saw the painting? I probably wouldn't be. For some reason, fiction trumps reality on occasion. That's what the story is about. The end. When I heard that, I thought that was true. Reality is not always the best. Everyone has their values, and it's okay to put fiction above reality. Fiction above reality. Sure, occultism is fun, I like them, but for some suffering from spirit hallucinations, it's hard to agree with that now. Haha, that may be so. But even I don't want everything to be fictional either. There are things I wish them to be real. Like what? Like the thing I've been thinking about for a long time. Suddenly, she placed herself over me. I lay down on the bench without much of a thought. Ryza's lips touched mine. I felt a soft sensation on my lips. It was real. Our lips parted, and I saw Ryza's face in the moonlight. Her face was calm, but I had never seen her cheeks so red. And my face was probably redder than hers. But Ryza, I was hoping to have a relationship with you, Riri. She spoke in her usual tone despite her flushed face. I've been thinking that same way, too. I could not hold back my true feelings. Good. Ryza quickly got back to her seat. I was unable to grasp what had happened all the moment. All I could do was look up at the sky in amazement. Then the joy of knowing that we were both in love with each other gradually began to well up in with me. I felt light and dreamy. It was as if I could even fly to the moon. What was Ryza beside me thinking? What expression had she now? I was too shy to have a look at her. But I thought I should be brave enough to take the lead. So I touched her hand, and I was trying to find out how she felt. She did not show any refusal. I held her hand, and she accepted it. My heart was beating so fast since a while ago. I was surprised at myself that I could feel so happy in such a hopeless world. A feeling like this was separated from the rest of the world. Eventually my heart calmed down, and a comfortable time passed. I wondered how long this time would last. I prayed to the deity to please extend my life. Just then a ray of light flashed through the darkness of the night. Wow, a shooting star. Ryza shouted. We looked at each other. Did you get to ask her anything? Yeah, I asked for my disease to be cured and to be able to stay with you forever. What about you, Ryza? I made a wish too, but what I wish for is a secret. What did she wish for? I hoped it was something about me. Although it was not easy, Ryza and I lived a peaceful life together. However, the peace was becoming a normal part of our life had suddenly shattered. One day, when I came back from gathering resources, I found that the barricade to our base had been broken. I got a bad feeling. I went inside and found Ryza covered in blood lying on the ground. There was a monster beside her. She had probably been pierced by its tentacle. Ryza! I knew that happiness would come to an end someday, but I never thought it would end like this. Rui, you should run away. I know. Let's go. I immediately ran out of the base with Ryza on my back. There were monsters outside as well. I quickly ran in the other direction. A group of monsters chased after us. They were not fast, but I was carrying a person on my back, so it was difficult to get away from them. Rather than getting away, we were getting closer due to my exhaustion. Huff, huff. What should I do? Oh, right, that little scene from the very start of the game that I couldn't really tell what was happening. Tired and able to run, I had no choice but to put Ryza down and hide ourselves in the wreckage. I'm probably dying, so leave me and run, Rui. She was bleeding heavily from her stomach. No way, if you die, I'll die with you. You can't do that. Why? You told me to follow you the next stage or die. Sorry, that was a lie. I thought it would be better to say that. It was to lighten your load. Actually, I want you to live forever, even if I die. That's my greatest wish. What are you saying? I can't live in a world without you. I grabbed Rise's hand, even tighter as she lost her strength. Tears welled up in my eyes, blurring my vision as if to cover up the reality in front of me. You'll be fine. Rui, you're a strong person. I'm sure you will. I mean, we could probably try Band-Aids. Flintstones, vitamins. Her words ended there, and she closed her eyes. Desperation. When I realized a monster was approaching right behind her, should I die with Risa here? I thought about it for a moment. Her hand was still warm. If I let go of the hand, I would probably never be able to hold it onto it again. But to fulfill Risa's last wish, I let go of her hand. I ran away. My head was spinning. My sense of reality had fallen somewhere along the way. I ran even so. I did not know why I was running, but my limbs kept moving. Soon I ran out of energy and fell. Where am I? What am I doing? Oh yeah, I was running away from the monsters. Then a shadow appeared in my blurred vision. Ah, the monster caught me, so this is it. The shadow caught me by the shoulders. Rui, Rui. I heard a familiar voice, and I lost consciousness. In my slumber, the moment Rise's death flashed back to me again. Right, Rise died in front of me. The flashback was repeated over and over again. My eyes were irritated, but the images would not stop. Enough, I know. Please stop. Gasp. When I woke up, I was sleeping in a bed in an unknown place. It looked like some abandoned building. Rui, I'm glad you're awake. Moan came rushing in from the other room. Oh yeah, I was saved by her. She hugged my body, filled with a sense of emptiness. Moan looked so happy, but I could not share the same feeling with her, so I just stood there in a daze. Moan, don't just disappear suddenly. I was so worried. I've been looking all over time for you. You didn't have to worry about me. What a good sister she was, caring for her big brother. However, I felt as if the scene of the TV drama that had nothing to do with me. You might say, oh, well, she's touched you and this is not an hallucination. I don't know if this memory is real. Felt as if it was a scene of TV drama that had nothing to do with me. What have you been doing all this time? I was with Risa. You know her, right? The girl who used to come to our house often? A flat voice leaked out of my mouth. With Risa. But she was killed by a monster. I wanted to save her, but I couldn't. The words that popped out of my confused mind sounded unrealistic. They floated in the air like bubbles as soon as I left my mouth. That must have been hard for you. But from now on, I'll be here for you. She comforted me, but it didn't move my old, rusty, hardened heart. When I closed my eyes, the Mount of Rise's death flashed back in. And the flashbacks kept on repeating. Ah. Stop showing me the reality. It makes me crazy. Moan then took care of me devotedly for a long time. But I just could not crawl out of the sea of emptiness that filled me. It was impossible to live in such a world. Sorry, Risa. I cannot keep my promise. I found myself on the edge of the rooftop. I looked down. Normally the view would make me dizzy, but it now looked like the only light that could get me out of the abyss. Soon I would be freed from everything. I could start all over again at a new stage. I felt myself tilting forward. Gradually? No, but with exclamation points. Someone hugged me tightly from the back. It was Moan. Sorry, but I can't do this anymore. Risa is not in this world. Me neither. I can't live without you too. Risa is waiting for me. I have to go see her. You wouldn't see anyone if you die. I don't believe in such a cult. I want to live in this world with you. Being with someone in the afterlife is just a convenient illusion. I was happy that Moan cared about me if I could. I wanted to do as she wished. However, her words just slipped out of my body. Even if you don't want to, you are going to be with me. Well, I mean, I'm going to die anyway at this point. So... even if I have to deceive you, Rui. She pulled me and tried to take me somewhere. I was empty, and I had no power to fight it off, so I just let it all go with the flow. When I noticed my hands and feet were bounded. Moan had done this. What was she going to do? Even in such a situation, I was watching myself as if I had nothing to do with me. From then on, Moan kept whispering in my ear, "You did not see Ryza. There was no outbreak of Speria. You are in a peaceful world as always." She kept enumerating convenient lies. What did she want to do? Her whispers continued endlessly. In the dark, concrete room, with no sense of time, it seemed like an eternity. Speria is just a disease of seeing delusions. It's a disease that will go away with time. Now we are going to the hospital to cure it. The hospital is a beautiful place with lots of nature around. There are many patients just like you. The nurses are very kind. It is a very comfortable place where time passes slowly. That doesn't sound that bad. Gradually I began to feel comfortable with her whispers, for I realized I surrendered my heart to her pleasant words. My brain had become so messed up that I did not know what was the truth anymore. I felt a crash and a snap from my brain. Bwaha! Welcome to my world. Where the next time I regained consciousness was, it was an unpleasant voice like I saw sawing through the skull. Have you remembered everything? I was too stunned to respond for a while. Yeah. My parents and friends had all turned into monsters. The world was collapsing and it was about to end. I got to see Ryza again, but she died. I had false memories because of Moan. It was all too much. There was no way I could easily accept all this. Which also means the distorted way I saw the hospital is probably how it actually looks. Because I feel in an apocalypse situation, maintenance and cleanliness would probably go out the window. That being said, my fucking hallucinations are more athletic than I am. It was all too much. There was no way I could easily accept all this. Ugh. I almost vomited a spot as my body was filled with unbelievable realities all at once. But sadly, I instinctively felt all these memories were true. It was probably because I had experienced it once before. After remembering everything, the first thing I thought about was the fact that Rise was in front of me was a delusional being. Humans might be designed to devote resources to the thing in front of them more than anything else. Or perhaps we were the only able to keep up what was in front of us. Right now, I was more concerned about an imaginary girl than the end of the world. So, you really are a delusion I've created? Why are you on the other side of the fence again? Right. As a delusion, you have instant transmission. Must have learned that on Yardrat. Yeah, but I am half you and half Ryza. I was created from your memories of the real Ryza. And what do you want me to do? I asked the imaginary Ryza. I want you to erase me. I want you to face the reality and find a way to save yourself, because that's what the real Ryza wanted. Wouldn't I stand a better chance if my imaginary friend was helping me? But the choice is yours. I will not force my original's ego on you. You can choose to live in the reality or your fantasy. Choose reality and I'm gone, and you'll have a harsh and painful world to live in. But if you choose fantasy, I'll stay with you until the day you are consumed by Speria. I can't just choose suddenly. I haven't even accepted everything yet. It's not so sudden. I've asked you similar questions many times. Like she said, Ryza had me choose two difficult choices several times. I realized her intentions, wondering if all those were just a prelude to this moment. Come on, make your choice. I still had not fully accepted everything. However, I felt that I had to make a proper choice now. Save. I'll go reality. I had to put an end to the delusion I had created. I gave up once, but I still want to fulfill Ryza's last wish. So I'm going to face reality. I'm sorry. I see. She replied plainly with her usual tone. Then kiss me for the last time. I want you to kiss me this time, then I will disappear completely. Okay. I clenched my fist tightly and determined myself hard. I tried to touch Ryza's lips through the fence. Of course, my lips did not touch her, and they just skimmed the air. It might have seemed ridiculous from outside, but I was trying my best and facing her with sincerity. Even if she was an imaginary existence, it was an undeniable fact that she had given me a lot of excitement and fun in this hospital. Thank you. Goodbye, Rui. Good luck. She had a bright smile on her face. The girl of fantasy was rising from the beginning to the end. Her clear hair and skin melted into the sky. The girl of my first love. Even after she moved away, I always loved her. When I met her again, and when I learned our feelings were the same, I was so happy that I felt I was in the sky. But I lost her in the end. And the last thing Ryza left me was the imaginary Ryza to fill my time. But I lost that too. I lost her twice. The fact hit over and over like a wave. I could not stand it any longer and broke down crying on the spot. Sob. Arg. Arg. Okay, I understand there's a fucking pandemic, but why is the sky sick? Next time I opened my eyes, the true world was waiting for me. I was in the same place as before, but the scenery was completely different. The rooftop was all cracked and covered in ash. The fence was rusted by age, and as if those rusted bled into it, the sky was discolored and reddish black. So, this is the reality. I had no idea my hallucination was even affecting these buildings and landscapes. I looked back down at the forest, the distance through the fence. I could barely see it, but there were monsters in the distance. There was an end for the spirit of patience, and that was what I would end up as. The fence surrounding the facility might have been a barricade to prevent those monsters from entering. I was once again reminded that the world was truly coming to an end. How many people had survived? I did not know anything. However, I decided to face that reality. I closed my eyes for a while and settled my breath, and then left that place. Hey, a fire extinguisher. We should bring that. I walked back inside the building and through the rusted door. The hospital was dim, even though it was noon, and the air was stuffy and heavy. They probably can't afford an electric bill anymore. Heck, their electric plant probably doesn't even function anymore. You have to have people to run that shit. The hospital was dim, even though it was noon. The air was stuffy and heavy. The cracked gray world. The world I saw in my nightmare last night. That was the true form of this world. I suddenly remembered what I saw in my dream. If that was not a dream, then the director was actually a murderer. I felt goosebumps all over my body. I would need to be extra careful with that person. I went down the stairs and found Moon waiting at the end of the stairs. Her clothes were dirty and tattered. This might have been how she looked in reality. I realized I was not hallucinating when I saw her with the tattered clothes on the second day of hospitalization. I saw you saying goodbye to Ryza. You remembered everything, didn't you? So she was watching me. I had no room to pay attention to my surroundings. Yeah. Hey, Moan? Father and Mother, did they really turn into monsters? They did. I knew it myself, but I could not help checking, hoping that all this was some kind of mistake. An awkward silence passed. What kind of feeling should I have for Moon now? Anger for being deceived? Thankful that she stopped me from killing myself? I was not sure. You must resent me. You forgot your precious memories of Ryza because of my hypnosis after all. I don't know, but I know that you did it for my sake. So I can't blame you. That's not true. I only let you live because I couldn't stand a world without you, and that was my ego. Actually, I can't fault you for that. So, thank you. I actually do appreciate that. So, thank you. That being said, our circumstances are a bit, odd, and pretty sure I'm still terminal no matter what, and I think the director is going to kill everyone. So, yeah. So when did you live happily without knowing about this harsh world at least? Then why didn't you make me forget about being infected with Spiria? That was simply because I couldn't prevent you from hallucinating, and my hypnosis wasn't perfect. No matter how many times I hypnotized you sometimes you would break it over. So I decided to maintain consistency by making you think that you were hallucinating about monsters and other things you saw in the real world. I see. What I would expect of Moan, she was always on another level of intelligence. Anyway, is this really a hospital? Yeah, it's a common sanatorium hospital. It was closed down a long time ago after the nurses were found abusing patients, though. Those who are the nurses and patients here. They are all survivors who have antibodies to Spiria. They came here to escape from the monsters. Most of the patients are people with incomplete antibodies like you. The nurses are healthy evacuees with complete antibodies just like me. Before I came here, I hypnotized you to think of healthy people as nurses. You must be a gifted hypnotist. I said teasingly. Not really. Spirit patients are mentally weakened, so anyone can probably do it. But all the hypnosis were broken by Ryza. I didn't expect the delusion of Ryza to show up. I'm sure her last wish was stuck in your mind for a long time. You knew all that, right? Yeah, I heard every detail about what happened with the real Ryza when you were under hypnosis. Spirit patients has no privacy, huh? I accepted that was unavoidable when you were ailing. Speaking of privacy, there's one more thing I owe you an apology for. I've been watching you from the room next to you for a long time. Okay, that explains the hole in the wall. By the way, I saw the director murder a dude. She stabbed me in the neck with a thingy. I didn't appreciate that. I don't like needles. I was happy to see you looking healthy, so to be honest, I was surprised to know that she liked me this much. But since I was only the family member who survived, it was no wonder. I see, so it was your eye that I saw poking the hole. That time I was trying to see how you were doing. Our eyes met as I looked in the hole, so my heart was just about to jump out of me. That's my line. What are you doing here, Moan? Someone approached me from the dark end of the hallway. It was the director wearing a gas mask and holding a gun. A chill ran down my spine. Rui has regained his senses. Is that so? Well, he was delirious last night. I knew it was only a matter of time. I might be killed to keep my mouth shut. This is bad. Let's run, Moan. I quickly pulled her hand. Despite my appeal, Moan would not move from that place. I mean, she does have a gun. We can't outrun a gun. It'd be like the fucking Ninja Turtles fighting the clan. You know, the Foot Clan with Shredder. Like, I mean, why don't they just use guns? And then it'd be like, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Solid JJ did a video about that. And it was just like, oh, what happened? They used guns. Well, but we had karate and a stick. Yeah, no, that doesn't work. Guns. Yep, the turtles are dead. It's okay. Henri is a good person. I saw her murder a dude, though. Also, she stabbed me in the neck with a thingy. I didn't like that. So I at least need an apology. I need an apology for being stabbed in the neck with a thingy. And I need an apology for watching you murder somebody. You're like, how does that work? Simple. I felt bad. It made me feel bad. Apologize to me for making me feel bad for me watching you murder someone. But I saw her killing someone. That's probably a misunderstanding. Trust me, Henri takes care of the survivors here. People here don't easily give up on patients with incomplete antibodies, simply because she's the leader of this group. I looked at the faces of my sister and the director alternatively. Do I ever get to see your actual face? The thoughtful Moan is trusting the director this much, so it might be certain. Why don't we change the place? Oh, airborne disease. Makes sense. Wait, does that mean she's not infected at all? Well, no, that should be possible, given the widespreadness. And even then, if you were not infected at all, I would definitely not be interacting with human beings. Like, if 99% of the population is infected with something, and I'm not, I'm going to be even more antisocial than I already am. But hey, you got a name, so yay. Why don't we change place instead of standing out here talking? You two follow me to the director's office. The director turned away and headed down the hallway toward the darkness. Although I could not completely overcome my doubts yet, I followed her and Moan. On the way, I felt something strange about the bangs I saw in front of me. I asked the director for permission and looked at my face in the bathroom mirror. There I saw myself with gray hair and sores like burns on the brain of my face. Right, this is what I looked like in reality. It was supposedly influenced Asperia. So the image I saw once in the mirror was just a hallucination breaking loose. We walked down the stairs many times and reached out to the destination. You know, it looks nice here. We even got a TV. I don't know if there's any stations that exist. But hey, as long as we have like a generator that gives us a tiny bit of electricity, you know, solar panels or something, we can watch a DVD of like Pokemon Orange Islands together. Do we have Pepsi? Is it cold? It's not flat, is it? If it's flat, I don't want it. We arrived at a relatively clean place, unlike the hallway. It was the room where I had witnessed the director murdering a man. My whole body got tense as I recalled the moment of the murder. Now take a seat. I cautiously sat down in the chair. Can you drink coffee? Yes. The director took water from the tank, glass, pot, boiled gas stove. Then she put some instant coffee and started to pour it into the beaker. Drink up. She placed a small beaker in front of me and moaned. Hesitantly, I took a sip. I felt my body relaxed a little with the heat of the coffee. I killed a patient at the end stage of Asperia. The director spoke. What was the end stage of Spiria? I heard of it somewhere before, but my recent memories were so hazy that I'd forgotten. The patient who was in the bed in front of you. For example, the middle-aged man who I strangled last night. Come to think of it, the man wasn't there when I woke up today. Okay, still, I want an apology for that, still. And also the neck thingy. End-stage patients' eyes always go blank, and then they become residents of a dream world created by their delusions. Oh, that means if I chose the path where I was like, I'm going to live with my imaginary girlfriend, you're just going to kill me. Well, fuck. Naturally, they cannot communicate and will never return to the real world. That old man's eyes were always out of focus and he just mumbled. I would have saved him if I could, but if I left them for too long, they could turn into monsters to harm others. Therefore, I killed those whom I judged to reach the limit with my own hand, out of necessity. I looked at Moan. Is that true? She nodded. I then remembered the room where there were many dead bodies. There were many dead bodies in the treatment room at the back of the first floor. Could they be those whom I had no choice but to kill? I had been keeping them for about 3 days to cremate them all together. Efficient, but not very hygienic. Then the lifeless people I saw in the treatment room on the second day might have been the corpses that appeared to be alive in my hallucination. As I stared at the director, I noticed something. She looked exactly the same as she did before I woke up with the hypnosis. I had gotten used to her appearance, and I no longer felt weird about it. Is that gun real? Of course it is. Force is necessary against the monster as well as against those who've lost their mind. Could you just use a tranquilizer gun? I'm pretty sure, if you shoot me with bullets, that's going to hurt. And then I'm going to complain about it. And then you're going to have to listen to me complain about being shot. And I'm going to complain a lot. Then what about the gas mask? As long as Spirit's airborne, you can't be without one, can you? But that means you're not infected. What? I'll say this. It definitely takes a bit of a brazen, if not courageous attitude for a person to have if they're willing to actually go out and be actively involved with spirit patients. But it could also be by blood. Surprisingly, no hallucinations were involved in the director's appearance. Which means you don't have a spirit antibody? That is right. And as far as I know, I am the only person in the world who survived without Spiria antibodies. She proudly held her head high. You looked young for a director and wore a weird outfit, so I thought I was hallucinating. Well, I am just calling myself the director as the leader of the shelter. There's not really an authority that exists anymore that can call you out. There is no government or police or military or anything. Oh, okay. However, I was once a surgeon. Oh, okay, that definitely gives you a lot of qualifications. You have to be very smart to be a surgeon. Plus, that requires a decade plus of actual high-end education and a lot of experience. Okay. In the sense I have the most medical knowledge in this shelter, I see no problem in calling myself director. Yeah, that makes sense too. The company I was working for before Spirit Outbreak was a pharmaceutical firm, though. She was strange, but I could tell that she was also someone great. I wonder how old she is. After the outbreak, my research team was independently working on a cure for Spiria, but a monster suddenly attacked us, forcing us to stop. I'm the only survivor who escaped here. She might have experienced a lot too. There could be something completely different behind that rugged mask. I was not sure why, but somehow I thought that way. What's your relationship with the director, Moan? When I was hypnotizing you, Henri was out gathering some food. That's when I met her. She asked me to come to the shelter. So after I finished hypnotizing, I got in the bus she arranged, and I came here with you. I see. The missing pieces were placed into place, and I felt like I had a grasp on the situation. I had been mistaking the shelter for a hospital through Moan's hypnosis and ended up here. But even if I stayed here, I would eventually turn into a monster. No, Henri would probably get rid of me before that. I had decided to move on. I did not want to give up on life at any cost. You said earlier that you were working on a cure for Spiria. Is that something that can no longer be completed? Well, I have been working on the medicine since I came to this abandoned hospital too. It is already one step away from completion. Really? Yes. I have already identified the protein that acts on the virus. From here, we need to grow the cells and extract the target component. However, we are still missing some of the chemicals and equipment. And even if we do, we have not tested it, so we cannot be sure if it'll work. Yeah, but if I'm going to die anyway, might as well just test me. So, it'll work or it won't. Where can we get the necessary chemicals and equipment? We can find them back at the research center, the pharmaceutical firm where I used to work at. But it would take half a day to get there, even with a bus. The research center is the heart of the city. It will be full of monsters and dangerous. Then let me go get it. Are you serious? Didn't you hear how dangerous it is? I don't believe a spirit patient alone can do such a thing. I promised Ryza that I would face reality and find a way to survive. Since the path was right in front of me, there was no choice but to go forward. I was lucky that the pathway existed so close at hand. I have some experience with martial arts, and even if I stay here, I'm going to die anyways, so then I want to bet on the side that even the slightest chance. I had to go there sooner or later to help with spirit patients either way. The director whispered to herself. Then I will accompany you. Is this going to be like an RPG? You will? Yes, I could just write down what I need and ask for them, but I think it would be better for me to go with you. I'll go too then. I can't put you alone in danger. No, you stay here. I mean, if she's... I'll say this. You can't trust me with a gun because I can't function in reality. But give her a pistol. Like, you probably have a backup gun. You have your gun, and just give her like a 9mm or a Glock or a Smith & Wesson or something. Don't give her a shotgun. There's no way she'd be able to pull the trigger with her frame. It would probably knock her... It would probably give her a huge-ass bruise on her shoulder. Because, heck, I even find shooting shotguns to be a bit physically painful. But yeah, like, heck, if you hold a certain 9mm wrong, you could probably break your wrist. So how about this? I'm going to take a nap. You train her on how to use a gun. And aim and shoot properly, and then give her a gun. Because if there's anything that fixes most of life's problems, like, I don't know, societal collapse and illness, guns. Today on Let's Plays, curing cancer with guns. We just took all the cancer patients to the gun range and let them shoot targets with machine guns. At the very least, they had fun. Wonder if people would donate to a charity for that. Donate to our charity so we can take all these cancer patients to a gun range. I don't know. No, you stay here. You're not cured of spirit yet, remember? You could go delirious with delusions, they won't. I have to take care of you when that happens. She had a point. Moan probably knew the most about my spirit symptoms. It might be safe for me to take her with her. What should I do? Do I have a choice? Take Moan to collect items? Okay. Well, I should probably... I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.